Я веду подкаст «Привет, ты иноагент», и я признана иноагентом Российской Федерации, и в эфире телеканала «Мы должны об этом говорить». Со мной в студии Оля Чуракова, и я тоже признана иноагентом, и я тоже веду подкаст «Привет, ты иноагент».
Why do you film your undesirable friends with your smartphone?
I didn't start out to make a film with my phone. I knew I wanted to make a film about this subject, but I didn't know at the beginning of the film what the film was going to be. In fact, I told them if I knew what the film would be, I wouldn't want to make it, which is it's the process. I didn't expect what happened to happen. I started out making a film about journalists who were being declared foreign agents in the summer of 2021. Russia started declaring all these, not just media, but also individual people, like, say, yourself, Anne, foreign agent. And they had to mark everything they wrote with this paragraph saying they were a foreign agent. This had to be on all their articles. This had to be also on their Instagram cat pictures, on if they commented on a friend's baby photo on Facebook. They had to put everything as brought to you by a foreign agent. And that's what I thought I was making a film about. I thought I was making a film about a society targeting journalists, forcing people to declare themselves as others, even though they were part of the society. But of course, what we didn't know is that 4.5 months later, Russia would start a full-scale invasion in Ukraine. And I didn't even plan to use the smartphone. I thought I was going to have a cinematographer, a larger camera, but because I flew over the day I got a visa, I had a tourist visa to Russia. I was born in Russia, but I lost my Soviet citizenship when we left when I was 9 years old. So I got this tourist visa, flew over, said, I'll figure it out then. And the first night, Anya, who is a co-director on the film and the first character I started with, was having people over for dinner. And I was going to invite a cinematographer. And she said, we don't really know him. And we'll feel more comfortable if it's just you because you're our friend. And can you borrow his camera? So I borrowed his camera, but I couldn't figure out some settings on it. And I tried for a few minutes, but the dinner was already happening. So I put it on, I just put it aside and I started filming with my smartphone. And it was the best decision I've ever made because it allowed an intimacy, which I think is the film's best quality, is that you really live life with these people. You're in their kitchens, you're in cars with them, you're laughing with them. You feel like you're hanging out with friends, which is kind of the aesthetic of the film. It feels very, very close, very intimate. I don't think I could have gotten that without a phone. We're so used to being filmed with a phone. And I think I've been told it's quite beautiful. The quality of the iPhone now is kind of incredible what you can do with a phone. I think it looks incredible, technically. But it created a real closeness that I think is a huge part of the film.
Is the car a privileged place for confidences in a totalitarian country?
All private spaces are a privileged space in a totalitarian country. The car happened absolutely also by accident, is that the second day of filming, we had to drive to TV Rain, Russia's last independent TV station, which at the time was still operating in Russia. I think it's really important to say that all of these places don't exist in Russia anymore. All of my characters had to flee into exile. At the time, miraculously, they were still able to work in Russia. But the thing is, Moscow has a lot of traffic. And so I started filming because we were stuck in traffic. We were sitting in traffic. I was like, okay, we have a lot of time. We may as well talk. And that's how the car scenes happened. And everything in the film really happened intuitively this way, without really a plan. But I think it kind of all worked out. I love decisions like this, that are just forced on you, and then you have to. It's the thing I love most about documentary, and I'm sorry I'm going on a lot of digressions, but I was saying, because I've made both fiction and documentary, but what's beautiful about documentary to me is it forces you to pay incredibly intense attention to what's happening and to improvise on the spot and to respond. And that's how the film was made, and to me that's a thrilling way of working.
Why this message is so present in your movie?
This is the message that says, basically, this article and or material has been created and or disseminated by a source of mass media carrying out the function of a foreign agent and or a Russian legal entity carrying out the function of a foreign agent. And they had to put this on everything. Like imagine today you decide, okay, I want to put a picture of some nice springtime flowers, and it has to include this message. And it also, the law stipulated that this message had to be in a bigger font than anything else. So if you have like a newspaper, you know, or an article online, this was almost always in like all caps. So it's the first thing that anyone had to see. I mean, it's what the media looked like in Russia in the fall and winter of 2021 and the beginning of 22 before the full-scale invasion. So it got to the point where literally, because also, for example, if you were on TV Rain and you had a guest who was a foreign agent, you had to say, oh, and here I am talking to Anne, who I must say is a foreign agent. And so it felt like by the weeks before the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, by that point, like 50% of the words in Russian independent media was like, oh, we must say this is a foreign agent, and we have to remind you this person is a foreign agent, because if you didn't say this, you could get a fine, and eventually your media could be shut down, or if you're a person, it would be a criminal offense after 3 violations.
Есть Лев Александрович Пономарев. Он старейший правозащитник. Он один из вот этой первой когорты, кто был признан иностранным агентом. Значит, сейчас ко мне подходит продюсер и говорит, когда Пархоменко говорил про Пономарева, он сказал, что он иноагент. Не была произнесена фраза «Лев Пономарев признан иностранным». Ну вот, понимаешь, весь, мы про это говорим, это весь марафон про это. Ну, блядь, я не могу объяснять эту логику.